What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8, Papa Zulu November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. And I look there with the rookie mistake, me with double sound going. I blame it on Dan. Anyway, it's Hump Day time. Hump Day happy hour. We got a great stream tonight. We're going to be talking with Josh a little bit about some of my favorite topics, CW, pota, and then we're going to talk about some cool stuff that he sells. And I promise you'll like it. You'll like something. But before we get started, we're going to thank these guys right here, because if it wasn't for them, I probably would not have been on a mountaintop somewhere in Kentucky today, and then proceeding down the mountain to do me about 6 potas a day. So thank you guys, each and every one of you. You all rock. Then we'll come over here and thank the YouTube channel members. I've said it a couple of times. You guys are welcome to the Patreon Christmas party. You just gotta show up that night. It's on the 22nd, so welcome to show up. And then last but definitely not least, the guys that donate every month. There actually wasn't a change. I was shocked. It got really, really close, and that $2 super chat that he just dropped may have put him up a spot, actually. But thanks for the super chat, Chris, and we'll see where you're setting that next week. Anyway, before we get started with Josh, Dan, how's the Christmas contest going?
Going great, man. Going great. Hello, everybody. My name's Dan. I'm an addict. No, it's doing pretty good, man. I'm steadily every time I go out, it's a controlled chaos. I mean, hour 50, 2 hours and change, 230, 240 QSOs. It's good for the brain, exercising. So if you want to get used to pileups, volunteer next year for the 12 days of Christmas. It's fun.
All right. Hayden, how's everything been going for you?
Everything's going good. Getting ready for Christmas. Grandson's running around all excited.
Good deal. I'm ready for Christmas myself. And actually, I'm ready for this year to be over with. But yeah, that's beside the point. I did get out today and finish my soda goal for the year. I didn't wait till the 31st, like some of you guys probably thought I would. I did that last year, and I said, no, I'm not going to pull that this year. And then I got about 6 parks done. 2 or 3 of them new to me. So always a good thing. But anyway, Josh, how you doing, bud?
Hello. Thanks for having me. You actually, so I was out doing some Christmas shopping with the family. I was like, yeah, we can do that, but I've got a hard cutoff. Got to get back to the house. Darn, I can't stay out late Christmas shopping. That worked out pretty well.
You're definitely welcome. You're definitely welcome for that.
Well, we took the 4 kids out, so yeah, it was a bit of chaos, controlled chaos. That's actually a great term for it.
That's a good idea. If anybody wants to get out of Christmas shopping, send me a message, and for the low price of $29.99, I will invite you on a stream at any day you want. And it can be a 2-minute stream, and you can be done, go do pota or whatever. But
that worked out well.
Anyway, all right. So before we get started, I know who you are. Most people probably know who you are, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in ham radio before we start this.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Joshua, November 5 Fox Yankee. I used to be Kilo Oscar 4 Alpha Whiskey Hotel. So I got started in ham radio in early 2020, thanks to my father. So he got into ham radio shortly before that. So kind of drugged me along. He started telling me about stuff. I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun. I'm a mechanical engineer, but the electrical stuff really interests me. So he started talking about all things ham radio. And it's like, yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. I tend to pick up hobbies, but this one's definitely stuck around for quite a while. So kind of got into all the tech stuff for about 6 months, and then upgraded to general, started doing the HF stuff. And man, it's just it's a bottomless pit. there's so much to learn in ham radio. So that's what I've been doing. And then somewhere along there, I don't even know the time frame, but I started making some antennas for mostly for myself, and had a few people asking for things. And it's like, well, shoot, I can sell these things to pay for ham radio gear, and that worked out better for the finances anyway. So I started selling antennas and started selling other stuff too. So really, what you see in my shop is the stuff that I use, that I kind of designed and made for myself, and just started making it available. So that's my short story.
Good deal, good deal. And it's actually funny because I did not know that about your call sign. And me and Dan and Hayden was actually talking, right before you come on. And I said, yeah, I've worked in more CW than I have sideband. But
Yeah, and then you looked, yeah.
that is actually incorrect, because
Yes.
I've worked you plenty of times on sideband with the old call.
Yeah. I transitioned a lot of my free time, which is, there's not much of it these days, but a lot of it transitioned from hunting single sideband pota, which you were one of the guys I was hunting often, to working on learning CW. So I don't do as much hunting as I like anymore, but definitely a ton of CW. So yeah, I looked the other day, actually. I've got you in there for single sideband quite a bit.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's funny. So
On the way back down from my rove this summer, actually, when I hit the DC Pfeiffer, I was using your random wire QRP, and it worked phenomenally well.
I didn't know that.
Very good. That's actually great to hear. But I kind of feel bad I didn't realize you had one of my antennas.
Always.
Very good. Very good.
Potentially.
yeah, all right. So you say you started learning CW. What made you change, first off? Because I'm curious, because I started at the end of last year. I had made a whole big goal thing that I was going to do a CW activation by the end of next year, by the end of the year. And, Kyle had been fussing at me all year, dude, you're waiting and waiting and waiting. And so December 31st, I go out and I wing it. And I do this activation that was absolutely horrible. But then I haven't not done CW at a park since then. Every day since then, I've been in the park. So what made you decide, I'm gonna stop talking and start playing with my fingers here?
Yeah. So my dad, I got to blame him for a lot of this stuff. But he started learning CW, I don't know, maybe a year into being a ham, and he was always telling me about it. Oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And of course, I got into all kinds of digital modes, and they're very interesting. They're all very unique, and there's a lot of fun things about them. But I kind of got bored of every digital mode I'd pick up. I learned something new, and it's like, okay, well, this is great for being able to get information out and make communication when single sideband just doesn't cut it. But the piece that my dad kept harping on was, the ability to reach out with CW, a very low signal mode essentially. And so I started watching videos from one of your recent guests, Thomas Witherspoon. And I don't know, there's just something about listening to CW. It kind of grew on me. I started watching his videos and some from some other people. And just the more I listened to it, the more it intrigued me. But I'm also very much a hands on guy. So things like, a KX1, things like a mountain topper, things like the QCX radios, they're all just, there's something very cool about them. I'm just kind of attracted to these things. And of course, all of these are CW only. So there's probably a few facets of it, but just something about the ability to reach out and communicate in almost kind of what seems like a secretive language. It's still just English, but just the ability to reach out and do it in such an interesting, unique fashion. Not to mention kind of the history behind it. There's a lot of cool things, and it's been around for such a long time. So quite a few different facets of it. But what I really wasn't sure of going into it is it takes time to learn CW, and that's something that I would say very few people could skip out on in order to learn CW. So for me, it was just kind of like it's a commitment to be able to spend that much time. So continuing to watch videos from people like Thomas just kind of helped coax me along. I kind of started not real serious about it last year, And then I was trying to do CW, and I was trying to get my extra ticket all at the same time. I'm like, well, this is silly. I need to focus on one. So that was when I got my extra ticket in January, and then I focused all my efforts on CW. And it kind of progressed slowly here and there, listening to audio tapes. But then this summer, I just kind of said, well, I've been hunting for long enough. I need to go do an activation. And I have to say, it went much better than I thought it would. But I think I set my bar really low. I was like, well, this is going to be ugly, and I'm just going to go do it. And I haven't looked back. So I've actually only been doing CW activations since August. I'll get back to single sideband at some point, but I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So
It's kind of crazy on how it has that effect on people. Bill Brown, probably one of the best POTA CW guys out there. He told me, he's like, when you start doing CW, you're going to fall in love with it. And I'm like, nah, it ain't going to happen.
it's true.
The whole reason I did the whole do a CW activation last year was it was again, about like you, my dad. I got my ham radio license to honor my dad when he passed. And, he was big into CW. So I was like, I gotta do this, one time. And then the competitive part of me kicks in. I'm like, I really sucked at that. I don't suck at anything. So I go back out to the next day and suck again, and then I suck again. But that's the big key is just getting out there and doing it. It doesn't matter if you suck at it, because if you're a POTA activator, guess what? They want in your log.
Oh yeah.
You can question mark them 400 times if you want to, and they will keep resending their call sign because they want in your log. It's the same thing with soda. They want in that log. So it's kind of crazy. And I'm like you. I'm obsessed with the little radios. Now, I'm a QRO guy. I'm definitely not a QRP guy. When I go out into the field, it's 83 watts every time. I don't do QRP on sideband. But when I go out it's funny, when I go out to do a soda, the only soda I've ever done sideband was my first one that I did a couple of years back before I knew CW. So since I've started soda, every time it is QRP CW only. And every single one I've done since has been that way. And I've become obsessed with the little QRP radios.
Yep.
And it's crazy because PP Man asked me all the time, like, why do you keep getting these radios? You don't do QRP. I was like, I do. He said, when you do CW, I'm like, I do CW a lot. So.
Okay, so I have to ask, what's special about 83 watts?
I don't know. That's the inside joke. One day somebody asked me, because my signal was so good, how many watts I was on, and I had no idea because I looked over and I said 83 watts, and he's like, 83? That's a weird number. And I was just like, that's the king's number. And ever since then, it's been 83 watts every activation. And people are crazy. They'll be like, oh, I'm going to run 83 watts like James does. And that's just my number. I don't like to max out a radio. I don't like to do 100.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I run a 100-watt radio at 80 watts. Maybe I should do 83 though. I suppose I could do that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, 83 will get you anywhere in the world. I'm telling you.
No.
But I don't know. It's just been my thing, kind of like all of it. It's just like the whole POTA King thing started with a hunter, because myself and Kate MRD had been spatting back and forth, for views and stuff like that. It was, people think we hated each other, but we didn't. And
friendly competition.
Just friendly competition, because he was calling himself the POTA Daddy, and I kept telling him, what makes you do this? When I first had started, I was like, my stats are way better than yours, and I'm trying to build my YouTube because he's got this great YouTube, so why not spat with him? And then a hunter came on one day and he said, I don't know why you're arguing with Mike. You ain't the POTA Daddy, you're the POTA King. And
Nice.
Somebody was in that pile up and they heard that and they messaged me, and I'm pretty sure it was PP Man. who it was, and they were like, "Run with that. That's where that's where it's at for you."
The
Run with
pota
that.
Yoda.
Oh, and
Nice.
and then you got the clown from Canada who thinks he's the real king. He activates once a month and
The Ice King.
thinks he's the king. He's like the what it is I conquered the kingdom, and he just wants to he wants to assassinate me and try to take the throne or something because he knows he can't conquer the kingdom.
It's a pota coup.
He could have it if he wanted it, to be honest, because I promise you, heavy is the crown, man. You don't want the crown. I tell people all the time, if they want it, they can have it. You want to put out my numbers, put them out. I'll have fun. But I've started getting into soda, and that's another reason why to do CW and QRP, because my very first soda that I did do sideband, people watched the video and one of the comments is like, "How did you get all that stuff up there?" And I'm like, "Did you not realize I was huffing and puffing going up the hill when I'm talking? I packed that stuff up there." But yeah, I want a small kit, just like I have one of your small batteries. That thing is absolutely awesome. Hayden's put the link in the chat, guys. He makes, and you may want to check on the batteries because he don't make them a lot, but he makes some great batteries, and when they are in, you definitely want to get one of those.
Yeah, I just restocked a few. They probably won't be gone. They'll be gone pretty quick. But I restocked a few this weekend, so I've got a couple of them.
And if anybody in the chat is looking for a Christmas present for the king, I'll take one of his knee boards, and I need one of his N5Fs because I don't have one yet, and that's my other obsession with. I got to have every antenna and every QRP radio there is. So
here, Steven has a Christmas present for you.
Stephen actually does have a Christmas present for me because I ain't going to talk about it right now, but Stephen's sending me something very nice for Christmas, and it's not the 31 coins that he's got printed. We've done talks. See, Stephen's a man, we'll just say. But anyway, all right, so pota or soda? What do you prefer?
I prefer soda, but so I'm fortunate. I live in North Georgia, but I'm at least an hour from a trailhead on Appalachian Trail, and so I mean it's a commitment to get out on a weekend, and with 4 kids at home, it's like I can't do that, But as I get a little bit older, so like I've got one of them that will do hikes with me. So I'll probably start doing some more when the weather gets warmer. But absolutely soda, just because I love hiking, getting outside. I don't get me wrong, I love pota as well, and I'll go sit at a picnic table under a shelter doing whatever. That's just as much fun. But definitely soda if I can involve a hike and get out and see some beautiful scenery, and carry some super fun teeny tiny radios as well.
Thanks for both of the super chats, Stephen. And yeah, he contacted me on the QRP mic. I know PP Man sent it to him. I think it's one of the ones that Adam designed, if you know what I'm talking about, the little tiny microphone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the one. He got me on one of those today. So
I do know Mark and Gene. So Mark is AE1MS and Gene is AE1JS. Very, very nice couple. Yeah, they end up at the Whiskey 4 Golf Soda camp out every year, so I catch up with them then. Yeah, great operators.
Yeah, I did see that you go to that, so I'm going to tell you because I also told I'm drawing a blank on the names. Husband and wife, their call signs are almost exactly the same. They're from Kentucky. Scott and Betsy. I told them
Scott and Betsy, yes.
I told them, I was like, make sure and tell me the next time this camp out is going to happen.
Yep.
So I'm gonna tell you as well.
Very good.
I want backup plans because I want to go hang out with you guys and check that out for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a great time. It's I think we usually start Wednesday, so Wednesday night through Saturday night. Come when you can, leave when you have to. And there are some great soda operators who get out and hit a lot of summits. That's not me. I'll do 2 summits in a day, and a little bit more relaxed. And I actually brought my my 5-year-old with me this year. It was fantastic. But yeah, it's such a good time. You get to meet everybody. We do a big potluck on Saturday night. So yeah, highly recommend.
Okay, so what do you prefer over the soda? The soda over the pota? What do you prefer? I know you said you prefer the soda, but what makes you like soda better?
Just the extra outdoor activity. So the hiking, getting in a nice workout before you get to play radio. The only bad part about that is sometimes if it's cold, as I found out with my father here a couple of years ago. I took him up on Big Cedar Mountain, and we got to the top and realized he didn't bring an extra jacket. And it's a pretty good hike all the way up, and so you end up a little bit sweaty and wet, and then you sit down and then you're doing nothing, and it was pretty cold. And he froze his butt off. He was sitting there trying to do CW, and he's like shivering, and I'm like, I don't know if that was a good idea. So we ended up sharing a coat kind of back and forth. But yeah, I think it's just the extra activity in the sites. Don't get me wrong, there's some beautiful parks in the area as well, but I really like getting out and doing a little extra in between the radio. So
Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. I would activate on 7200 again during prime time, but it would have to be a summertime thing because 40 meters dies in the winter. Here in West Virginia, well, I won't say it dies; it goes extremely long. And for me to do another epic 7200 activation, I have to have my top hunters with all the big amps and stuff to break through. So that was an epic night. I wouldn't put it past up, but I would do it again though. I have thought about actually getting somebody to bring me an amp out to a park and doing one like that. That would be great. All right, so
now if you find a pavilion around with a 220 hookup, I got you.
We'd all love that. It's very entertaining.
Oh yeah.
That night became epic quick. It was a contest weekend, and the bands were just stacked full. And I went by 7200 like 10 times and nothing. So then I started, is this frequency in use? And I literally asked like 10 times and nothing. I was like, all right, here we go. And, it wasn't about 2 contacts in that the first one came. And next thing you know, they were all there. And, they were playing Voice of America. They were playing Rick Ashley music. They were playing Donald Trump, Make America Great Again. I mean, it was just, they were playing some epic stuff. And it was funny because Vance, who worked for Pota at the time, worked me. And then he got on his Twitter and said, James is making a stand on 7200, all hands on deck. And, and I even told the guys, I was like, look, I have nothing to do in life. Pota is what I do. I was like, your mama will put you to bed before I do. I will outlast you. And, like an hour and 48 minutes later, I had a clear frequency and was activating, and I had like 170 some contacts because, it'd be like I'm a Whiskey Delta station, and then they'd blast, and then he'd be like Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November. And then I'd wait for them to blast, and I'm like, Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November 59. And, and I just can't make it. And I'd never let them know that I wasn't making contact because even if I didn't hear nothing when they come back, I'm like, hey, yeah, you're 5'9". Thanks a lot. 73 QRZ. Not even made a single. But I did. I just sat there, and I was on the way home, and I can't remember what it was. Somebody called me and said, dude, there's already a Reddit article wrote about this. I said, what?
That's great. That's great.
I get the habit of getting famous off certain activations. Just like last year in Dayton, there was 5 of us. When we get together, we like to have a good time, and there was no drinking, there was no drugs. We were just having a good time on the radio, and we did an activation, and some guy was recording our activation and just cracking up. He made a YouTube video talking about how we know how to have fun and this, that, and the other. And but he said, I'm pretty sure they're drunk and high. And some people did take offense to that. But it was just fun. I'll never forget, because the guy from Hannibal, he said, "You're 5'9" to Hannibal," and I was like, "It rubs the lotion on the skin." But we had no idea that somebody was recording us. You want to record them? People do that all the time. They'll record my pile-ups, and then they'll send me stuff, or they'll record people jamming me and send it to me. So here's the question for you. QRP, how do you deal with jammers? Because there's no way I can deal with the jammers that I deal with QRP wise. Do you just up and move, or?
I haven't come across a lot of jammers. Probably, honestly, it's been several months. Usually I'll end up moving. I'll deal with it for a little bit, because honestly, most people that do that will give up pretty quick if you ignore them. If you just keep working like it's QRM, I mean, just a lot of them give up pretty quick. But the ones that are persistent, yeah, I just move. When I'm working single sideband, it's a bit more tricky because you've got less space to work with. But if it's CW, it's not a big deal to move, because you respot, call CQ, and you get respotted right away. So I don't worry too much about it. But honestly, what I find more here lately is a lot of my receivers on the radios I'm using are really good, and I'm always running a long wire antenna, almost always, until I got my new toy here. But in that case, really efficient antenna, I've got really good ears, and so I'll end up hearing stations that aren't calling me, and they don't hear me. And then I'll work another station or two, but I can tell like that someone's moved in there and they don't hear me, and maybe they don't hear the people chasing me. And so in that case, I'll move as well. But honestly, I don't worry too much about it, especially working CW move. If you're working single sideband, yeah, it's a little more tricky. Ignore them. Maybe they go away, maybe they don't. So
that happens to me on 20 meters a whole lot. I'll be sitting there activating, and somebody will move in, or maybe they were there before. I don't know. And I never do hear them. And then somebody will come in and it's like, "There's another station on here." And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'll move." Yeah. And then sometimes, I just feel like, well, you know what? I've got a pile up here, and I don't hear them, and they probably don't hear me either. So I'm going to stay right here. It just depends.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way with nets. If they ask me nicely, I will always move every single time. But if they demand, I move. I'll sit there and fight you for the frequency.
Yeah. I usually will bug them though for a contact. So they don't want to give me their call sign. We got a net coming in. Well, give me your call sign so I can get you my log, and then I'll move.
Absolutely.
They don't say anything. It's like, give me your call sign. I want to get you my log, and then I'll move for you.
I did it the other day. I said, "Is this frequency in use?" "Well, the black sheep net's getting ready to start in about 15 minutes. I said, "Cool." "What's your call sign?" He said, "What you need my call sign for?" I said, "Because if you want me to move on before that 15 minutes, I'm going to get your call sign." He threw it right out and got in the log. I said, "All right, thanks." He said, "Thanks for moving."
Yep. So. Yeah, honestly, I'd lean a little bit more towards just move. I just don't. Maybe some of it's my personality, but I'll hang out and I'll ignore, but I'll move. I don't really care too much.
Yeah, I don't mind. It's just when I have the habit of getting these people to come on there, and they'll just strictly say, "We're getting ready to run a net. You need to move now."
Yeah.
I need to, huh?
I just don't respond well to that.
Yes.
And I've even said the correct terms is, sir, we're getting ready to have a net here. Would you mind for me to move? No, I said you need to move now. I said, no, sir, you'll move your net. And then I say QRZ, and then the pilot comes, and
Yep.
you know they can
Well,
fight
they're
me for it,
honestly
they can move.
they're not fighting with your pile up, so you've
No,
you've got that going for you.
I've made full nets move before.
Yep.
You know, and it's I even one net I even rolled over and told the guys, I said, you know, I would have moved for you guys, but the guy you sent over here, this
Yep.
is what he said, and that's why I didn't move. And they said, well, we'll take care of him.
You should just straight up tell them next time. Say, listen, if you refer to me as your Royal Highness or your Excellency, I will move.
If you bow before you key up the radio and get in my loft. It happens all the time. They'll come over and they'll throw out their call sign. They're like, we're getting ready to start a net in 15 minutes. Are you going to still be here, or do we need to move? I'm like, nah, I'll move right now for you, bud. That's not a problem. Just ask. It's not a big deal. And unless it's a contest weekend and I've tried for 3 hours to find my 0.5 of frequency that I'm allotted, and then I ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
So do you do any contesting?
I don't. Nope. Again, for me, it's the whole family balance. I play radio and I build, take care of orders, kind of later in the evenings and whatnot, and try to get caught up on things on the weekend. So for me, I can hardly commit to time periods like that. Sign me up for winter field day, summer field day, for the whiskey 4 golf soda camp out. But other than that, I don't commit to long hours like that. Yeah, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but no, I don't really do much contesting.
Absolutely. So what's the must-have product? Actually, let's just go a full rundown. Go ahead and tell everybody. I know he's posted the link, but go ahead and tell everybody about your company and what you make.
Yeah, so I mainly focus on antennas. So I've got too many probably to show, but I've got a QRP. So this is an N5FY half wave. This one is a 20 meter plus a 40 meter add-on. So you can just take out half of it, or you can take out the whole thing if you want to get on 40, 30, 20, 10. This is a 2-wire node transformer, which this thing works great for something that has a built-in tuner, or if you use like an external ATU 10 or T1 or something like that. This is what I keep in with my kicks 2, my kicks 3, my kicks 1. I'm about to give away how many radios I have. I've got a bunch of those in different go bags. And then I just realized, so the first antenna I released was a 100-watt version, which there's nothing super special about it. N5FY half wave, 49-to-1. But what I did was I designed it in a winder. And I don't sell these with gray anymore. They're all red. But as I was pulling out stuff to make sure I had stuff to show, I realized I gave away my last 100-watt. I have a habit of just giving people antennas. So I just realized that I don't even have a normal one. This is a 9-to-1. But all of my antennas are 49-to-1s and random wire are 9-to-1s. So then the other match, or the other pair that I would have, is a QRP that has a 9-to-1, and then it's got a radiator, but then it's also got a counterpoise. So all of my counterpoises are 17 feet because I found that works with all of my different random wire lengths. But really what's special about mine is, one, they're small, they're very portable, very packable. So again, I keep one in all of my different radio kits. But also, if you like kits, if you like building your own stuff, I sell all of my antennas except for my 20 meter Delta loop. That'll come out as a kit soon, but you can buy them as just a toroid if you just need to source a toroid and you want to pick up something else from the shop, plus the winder. If you just need some winders, if you want the full kit to build it without the wire, if you want to put some cheaper wire on it, or if you want the kit with the wire. So point is, I sell them any way you like them, fully assembled without the wire. I only use Poly Stealth So 26 gauge for the 100 watt and for the QRP, and then 22 for a QRO, which I don't even have one assembled here. But it's a T240, so it'll handle 250 watts single sideband. But I only do what I'll call expensive wire. So again, if you want it fully assembled and you want to put some cheaper wire on it and save yourself a few bucks. But the point is, what I tried to do going into this was I don't want to just have like, here's 3 different antennas, take them or leave them. I want to give people the option. I also sell like link kits. So if you just need some extra ferrules and banana connectors along with some adhesive line shrink tube to make a link in an antenna, I try to give you what you're looking for. Again, this for me is just fun. And I want to make sure that people can get and find what they're looking at, what they're looking for. So, but yeah, I've got the antennas. I've got the covers. So this is a KX1. What's special about these is I've got a magnet in the covers, and then I include the hardware to swap out. A lot of these radios are like aluminum plated, so you've got to have hardware that you can put that has ferrous in it for magnets. So this is the KX1, and it's just snap on, and then the hardware also like positions it so it protects the knobs. I've got the KX2. KX3 will probably be coming at some point. My KX3 doesn't go out in the field real often, so it's maybe a bit further on the back burner. I've got a MTR4B cover, and there's a few more that will be coming as well. So I've got the covers along with the battery packs. So I've got a 3.5 amp hour, and then I've got a 5 amp hour. So just to give you kind of a size reference. So James, I think I ended up sending you a 5 amp hour is what you've got.
Yeah,
But a 5 amp hour will run my TX500 and a Raspberry Pi 4 for 4 hours running digital work, which I'm just super impressed with. Part of that's the radio, but part of it's just the fact that it's a lot of battery in a small space. I've also got chargers for those. So what this is, you plug this into your battery, which they're color coded. So these are actual Anderson power pole connectors. And you plug it into your battery, and then you can plug in your USB-C cell phone charger to charge your battery. And so super teeny tiny overvolt protection to charge it properly. The batteries all have BMSs in them as well, but this just makes it super easy to charge these batteries without a big bulky charger or a big brick on the wall or something like that. We've also got a little USB-C power adapter, so this will boost or buck. So it'll do power delivery, 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, and probably a bunch of other random stuff I'm missing, but there's a whole bunch of things in my shop. I definitely take requests, interests, ideas. So if someone's looking for something and it's just not on the market, especially if I have a need for it, you can bet I'll tinker around with it and look at developing it. But yeah, check out my website. The company name is Tufteln, which is German for to tinker, which is essentially my life story. I just tinker with everything. So that's where that name came from. But it's easier if you just put in my callsign.com. So N5FY.com. That'll get you there as well. But yeah, just check out the website, see what you like. Shoot me an email if you have questions. And yeah, absolutely appreciate it.
The battery charger is really cool. Just don't be an idiot like me and not know that the solid red light means it's fully charged.
Yes, actually, yeah. So I've updated the documents for that. It's really curious. You think that it'd be backwards, but yeah, just take a look at the description, or when I ship them, there'll be a little package that describes that. But yeah, the charging indicator on it's backwards from what you would think.
Yeah, I kept looking at it and kept looking at it like, man. And I finally I sent him an email.
Yeah.
and he told me, and I was like,
I had to look it up again. I'm like, wait, yeah, it is backwards. Yeah, that's right.
But it's really cool the way it's made and designed, and he's right. You can charge it in anything because it's USB-C.
Super handy. Yep. And even if you just plug in like a dummy 5 volt wall wart, it'll boost that and charge the 12 volt battery. So they're real handy. Yep.
Cool. Yep. Charge it anywhere, because who don't have the phone charger with them if they go somewhere and stay?
Yeah. I travel a little bit for my full-time job, and I almost always have a chance to play radio at least one evening, and so I always bring a charger because I have my cell phone charger. But I mean, I never operate long enough to end up needing it when I travel. But it's nice to just have it with you and know that you can charge the battery if you need to.
All right, Dan, you got any questions for him?
No, I'm actually reading through the chat, seeing if we missed anything. I don't think we did. Everything's pretty much covered.
All right, Dan. So I got to give you crap again.
Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
So you haven't remembered, right?
No.
No. Okay. He's totally forgot. This was a couple months ago. So I got in fairly early on the order for the kits for the QMX, and I got it built like a couple of days after I received it. And so we were on like firmware version 2, maybe 3. We're on 14 now. A couple of those don't count if you have been paying attention. But anyways, I took this thing out, and at the time I was just starting to do CW activations, and I wanted to try a different rig because what I didn't want to do was just become super comfortable with a very specific rig and the way it operates.
Right.
I just wanted to be flexible and really lean on listening and sending on a key. So anyways, I took this thing out, and I had this super duper extremely strong signal come back to me and about blew my ears out because the QMX does not yet have gain control, automatic gain control.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
And it was none other than Dan. If you recall, I posted a video of it. I think it was maybe in the Discord. But yeah,
hilarious.
I grabbed for my ears, like, oh my gosh. And then
Maybe-
I turned on my volume, and yeah.
Maybe that's why James's contrast keeps getting bumped off, because I keep calling him and shaking the thing.
That's probably. I was getting ready to say that. I was like, that's probably why my pod has went bad. Is Dan contacting me on that thing and just rattling it to death?
Maybe I should send like just a string of dits when I'm about to call. That way you can unhook your coax.
Just unplug it. You'll still receive his signal. You'll still get it. Yeah, I have no idea. It was very loud. Yep. And I'm like, listening
funny.
real intently, and I've got these isolating earbuds in, and
That happens to me all the time because I wear in-ear monitors, and I'll have my APF turned on, dialed into one that's really, really down there, way in the noise, and I'll have the volume cranked up, and then some Yahoo will come over zero beating this guy, didn't just blow my eardrum out.
Yeah.
It's really funny because there's nothing worse. It doesn't matter CW or sideband when you're really trying to pull out a weak station and you're just moving everything around and trying to get as much hearing as you can, and the very next call is somebody that's just 400 over.
Yeah. Whiskey Zero, Charlie Golf John.
Yeah.
at least he whispers.
When I was in Lake Norman that time, he made my heart come out of my chest. Because the bands were just horrible. Like, I was doing everything I could to just get contacts in, and then all of a sudden he comes in like he's standing on my head.
And the lake still hasn't recovered. It's still down 3 inches.
I was curious what he was going to give Dan crap about, but yeah, Dan he does me that way. Like, I know when I go to Florida, because I go to Florida every year, and I don't do a whole lot of 40 meters unless I take my Eagle 1, because I love wire antennas, but when I'm doing roads and stuff like that, you can't always get a wire antenna up. So if I'm going to do a vertical and it's not an Eagle 1, you're not doing 40 in Florida. But anytime I would go to Colt Creek, I always go to a spot, and it's great to throw a wire up. And I throw a wire up, and I'll go to 40 meters. And I've got to where right before I spot, I'll turn my power, not my power, but my sound all the way down, because I know Dan's going to come over about 45 over. And just chill my ears. And every time, even with the volume turned all the way down, he's loud as can be.
Yep. Oh, I love 40 meters in Florida, boy. I've said it before. If you're an activator in Florida and you're on 40 meters at a park that I don't have, hold on to your volume knob. I'm coming for you.
I
When I-
did a Florida activation. So with my travel, I try to pick up activations in states I haven't activated before, and I actually took the family to Disney, which that's a whole nother story. But I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm gonna need some time to go do an activation while we're in Florida. And of course, she rolled her eyes at me, which is fair. But the opportunity I had was we drove down to we were about an hour and a half from the park, and I got up early that morning, and I just went and found a pota entity. I did some wildlife manage. Actually, it was a shooting range, is what it was, a wildlife management area with a small shooting range. And I did my KX2 with just a 2-wire antenna, and that was maybe one of the more fun activations I've done on CW because it was just super early, first thing in the morning, on 40 meters, and I worked a pile up the entire time. And I'm like, I've got to go, or I'm going to be in trouble when I get back to the hotel. it was a blast.
Were you west of Disney?
West and north a little bit.
Probably Tinnerock Wildlife Management Area.
Well, I want to say I'd have to look it up. I keep wanting to say Diamond Lake, but that's not right. It's something or other lake, I believe.
Okay. It sounds a little bit like Tinnerock. I've activated there quite a bit. Hey, thanks for the Dan should hunt QRP next year as it's going.
No. I hunt QRP all the time.
You hunt QRP.
I do.
Yeah,
My radio right now, my 15 watts, says right there on my radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's technically QRP.
You know,
That's the new QRP.
That's the power coming out of the back of my 7600.
There we go. Josh, do you have any plans for a CW key?
I have plans to tinker and make some. I don't know if there's a release after that. I'm still getting comfortable with different keys. And actually, I got to give a shout out. So if you're looking for like a field portable small key, the key from ARA, A6 ARA, I think that's right. So one is dirt cheap, but it is so much better than it should be. Like it's a really nice key just to have in your pack. I don't hesitate to use it like as a primary key, but I need to order a couple more of them. But like just throwing it in your pack as a backup key, the thing is excellent. So I don't know that I intend to, but I'm going to start building some just for the heck of it because again I just love to tinker with stuff. So.
All right. So thanks, Stephen, for the super chat and James for the super sticker. Appreciate each and every one of you. You know, that's another thing I spend too much money on is I love CW keys. Like ham radios is too expensive.
Yeah.
Because you're never satisfied.
Yes.
Even though 99.9% of the time I'm going to be on the DX10 and I'm going to be using my Bagali key, you know, I can't get enough of this stuff.
James, have you ordered one of these yet?
He's trying to convince people to get one for him.
You know what? Here's the thing. I want one really, really bad.
Oh, they're so much fun. I'm really having fun with this thing.
I really want one super bad, but it annoys me that I can't pay for it and just get it.
Yeah, nobody that already has one is going to turn around and sell it to you. So good luck with that.
I mean, here's the thing, because you know, if I'm not going to get it, take a deposit from me, and then let me, you know, chunk over the money, you know, when the radio is ready for me. That's different. But paying for it up front and not getting it is just crazy.
Yeah. So my last trip I was up in Ohio for work again, and I was able to get to the airport at a decent time, and I've flown through the airport enough that I know it's quick. And it occurred to me, I have a little bit of time. I could stop somewhere on the way, and I found myself at it was a state park land, and it was an archery lane, is what it was, and they also had a nice little tower. And this was early enough in the morning; nobody else was out there. So I took this KH1 with the 4-foot whip, and the 13, I think it's a 13-foot counterpoise. I walked up to the archery tower and let the counterpoise down and started calling CQ. And again, I worked a pile up for 15 minutes and got out of there. And then on the way back, I landed in Atlanta, and again found another park. Got out, sat on a bench that time, but activated another park. It's super quick and deployable. You've got to have the people hunting, but it's a killer little radio, perfect for soda. You definitely need to get one.
I definitely do want one, but I guess we'll just have to wait until the demand ain't there as much, because when I want something, I want it, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely a niche radio, so I expect that at some point you'll be able to pick one up and have it in your hands pretty quick. I don't know
Yeah.
how soon that'll be, but
Hopefully one of the YouTubers will get tired with theirs and they'll be like, yeah, you want to buy this thing?
there you go.
We'll see.
All right, everybody. James is looking for one. He's an Elecraft KH1.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody else wants to pay for it and wait for the time for it to get there, I'm good on QRZ, so.
I'll trade you one for a DX10.
Not gonna happen.
There you go.
If you'll trade me one for a G90, I will hook you up.
Want to be some kind of even trade? What the heck? What?
Okay.
2 G90s.
I will throw in
bare bones package.
I will throw in the cooling fan and the
ice packs,
the little Moby Link or whatever to do digital.
The amplifier.
Yeah. I imagine we'll see some down in Florida.
I'll even throw in a laptop for you to log with.
That's nice.
I still want to find a fully loaded 897. Batteries, built-in tuner. That was like my dream radio back in the day.
It's actually funny because I don't have an Elecraft. I'd love to have an Elecraft because it seems like everybody who gets an Elecraft, their world is just all Elecraft from then on.
Yeah,
but,
it's like an extra flavor of Kool-Aid.
But and I like them, and I love the little crazy radios and stuff like that. But every radio I try, still my favorite radio to do QRP is my 818. Because I know if I drop it, I'm good. I know if I get ran over by a mountain goat, I'm good.
This guy here. Do you have a filter in yours?
No.
The Collins filter that's very expensive and nobody can get.
So I'll keep this story brief if possible. I bought a Collins filter close to a year ago. Well, okay. It was shortly after these were discontinued, and I snapped one up because I'm like, I had been eyeballing this radio for a while, and I found out they were discontinued, so I just bought one. But then I very quickly realized it needed a filter if I'm going to do CW, and so I bought one of the $100 ones off of eBay, or whatever, and bought the board from that guy. I forget where he's at, but anyways. And I put it in the radio, and I would engage the filter, and I had like almost no audio, just super low volume. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I took it back out, and I ended up running it through my Nano VNA. And as best as I could tell, it was attenuated about 20 dB where it shouldn't be attenuated. And so I just had a bad filter. And I took my sweet time contacting the seller, and it was a little late. So I came across the Soda Beams digital filter that you can put in these radios. and I bought that off of DX Engineering, and I put that in last week, and it's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So for those that don't know, the 817, 818 on CW, they are so mine is 2.6 kilohertz. Like you got to listen to 2.6 kilohertz of bandwidth while you're activating CW, which is not a problem sometimes. But
Crazy,
sometimes
though.
sometimes it is a problem.
Man, that's really
and
wide.
you really need to be able to narrow it down, and you just can't on that radio. It doesn't have that option, so you've got to put a filter in it. But what I found is this digital filter, it filters the audio portion, and it works excellent. And I was able to test mine. It brought it down to 0.6 kilohertz, which normally I would run about 0.8, but it works great for me. So super pleased with that. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's a bit more work to install. I've never done a kit build video or anything like that, but I did do a video of installing it. I don't know if I'll ever release that. We'll see how editing goes. But yeah, I really like that radio now that it's got that filter in it. So I'm looking forward to taking that out.
Gee, thanks for spending more money for me. Yeah, because I do use that an awful lot for soda, but I don't know. I actually have a radio coming very soon, and we'll see if that stays my main go-to for soda. I really like my little QMX. I really did until Dan blocked it for me. I'm gonna blame you, Dan. Dan,
it's probably my fault.
If I was you, I would feel bad, and I would make sure and get me one of them KH1s. Delivered.
I feel horrible. I feel absolutely horrible. Matter of fact, if the problem's not resolved by February, I will drill a hole in the top of your QMX for you so that you can adjust it straight to the cover.
Well, I would more appreciate the KH1 before February.
Just go buy the other QMX, the high band version, and that'll get you by for a little while.
I don't think anybody's getting a KH1 before February if you order one right now. So.
Right now, yeah, probably not.
Dan,
I ordered it, like I was refreshing the website and ordered it as soon as I was able to. Yeah.
You got the money to make it happen, Dan. You can grease some chains, buddy.
Yeah, just listen. If I
What's the expedite fee?
If I slip you another 10, can you box it up for me? It should be like 10.
I mean, you can tell them that PP Man will come there and work for free for a year if you want.
I can just tell them that I know the PP Man, and Ellercraft will be like, "You know him?
Oh my.
We'll get it right out the door tomorrow."
Ain't he the guy that calls QRP on our products and nobody hears him? Yeah, we don't like him. We don't like him. He's making our radios look bad. I shouldn't say nothing. He hunted me a couple of times today. Anyway, well, we are about at the top of the hour. Josh, you got anything you want to let everybody know it's coming up for you, or shout outs, or any of that good stuff?
Not really. I will mention I still hesitate to mention this, but I have started putting some videos up on YouTube. I think just look up my call sign. There'll be more and more, but it's definitely one of those. Yeah, I've got a few minutes here. I'll, slightly edit a video and post it out there. I personally enjoy, fairly raw field videos, and so that's what you're going to get from me as well. But then also maybe a few kits here and there and stuff like that. We'll see how that goes. Like I mentioned, I did that filter, and we'll see how the editing goes. I was considering doing the QMX since I've already built one. Maybe I'll do another one. But anyways, I've got a YouTube there, and again, I've got a big backlog of products that I would like to bring out. But I'm just one guy. My wife's starting to help me with orders, which is huge and super great. But at the same time, if you've got ideas or you need something unique that you think there's a small market for, especially if I'm interested in it, you can bet it'll jump to the front of the line. So check out my website. Let me know what you think. If you've got ideas, shoot them my way. I'm happy to do custom stuff occasionally as well. So,
We'll talk after the stream.
all right.
Good deal.
I
Yeah.
have an idea.
All right, Hayden, you got anything coming up?
Ah, all you Patreons, Christmas party this Friday. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's always a good time.
Is it this Friday or next Friday, Hayden?
Oh, it's this Friday.
I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing
It's
with
like 2 days away. Can't wait.
you. I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Also, hit that like button, everybody.
Yeah, make sure and hit that like button. Dan, how many more days of Christmas do you got to do?
We're through the 25th, so I don't math on live stream, so y'all figure that out. So yep, we're gonna be doing more 12 days of Christmas. I might combine some pota in there as well. I've already done one joint activation for that, and you talking about getting the slam tram on the pileups when you do a joint one like that. It's pretty fun to do. But Joshua, thanks so much. Like I said, your random wire got me through the Pfeiffer in DC when I was up there on my big road. So excellent antenna, worked awesomely, dude. So thanks so much.
And for myself, I'm getting ready to go over to the Patreon after chat. Josh, I know you probably got to get back to your family, but you're always welcome there. For one, because you're a Patreon, and for two, because you're on the stream tonight. But other than that, I've been pretty busy this week, pota wise. Did get my soda gold finish today as well. So tomorrow we'll be dropping another video at 4 p.m. as always, and back out at the parks. And next week, next Wednesday, is the goal stream. Can I make it through that stream without setting stupid goals?
No.
That is the question. All right, we'll see everybody in after chat 73. Josh, if you want to do, you can hang out here and right here and talk to Hayden about whatever. And I'll catch everybody on the after chat 73. Everybody.
73, guys.